Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing an SIHH 2013 debut, a limited edition of 1,000 pieces from the Panerai Special Series. This is the Panerai Luminor Submersible 1953 Days Ceramica, and it is made of indelible matte black ceramic. So the watch is substantial, 47 millimeters in diameter, it's 16.9 millimeters thick, 52.6 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a broad 26 millimeter spacing between the lugs. When you throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, the first thing you note is that the lugs do protrude over the edge of my wrist, and you can see that on both sides. So I recommend this watch for a wrist of 18 centimeters circumference or larger, and you can see part of the reason for that is also the thickness of the watch. Taking one last look down the barrel, I think you'll agree with me, this is a bit more watch than I can handle. And one more look over the top where you can more easily see that the lugs protrude beyond my wrist. The strap is super high quality. Panerai factory piece, you can see it has strakes as well as branding molded in. It has a hollow on the underside to increase flexibility and vent the wrist. You can see it's a brand new Panerai factory vulcanized rubber strap. It comes with what you can see is a blackened metallic Panerai trapezoidal style pin buckle in matte black to match the case. And then we have a feature that's not universal on the ceramic Panerai Luminors. We have a removable strap fixed by screws and bars. The upscale traditional way Panerai watches have been made since the 90s. This is something I much prefer to see over, for example, spring bars, because it offers more security and higher quality, albeit with higher cost, but the cost is worth it on a super premium watch like this. All of the ceramic is matte black, media blasted for a muted anti-glare tactical look. It is extremely scratch resistant. In general, if you ever see a scratch on it like this, it means that something touched it, and whatever that something was wore off on the case rather than actually leaving a mark in the material. So in general, these can always just be unmarked using a pencil eraser. The ceramic is incredibly hard and shakes off the kind of treatment that would leave deep grooves on other watches, even steel watches, which is why I like ceramic quite a bit. We have the iconic device protecting the crown cover up the watch. Already you know what brand and what model family. It is that great a design icon, conceived in the late 40s, industrialized and implemented in the 50s. It is a crescent-shaped crown guard that offers more security than a conventional shoulder crown guard. And then there's a locking lever that acts as a cam to compress the crown itself. When you pop it open, now you can wind the watch, pull the crown out, set the watch, all of those good things. You get 300 meters of water resistance when the crown is locked. Pull it up, immediately you have access. No need to thread out the crown. That means with this system, it's tough to jump in the water and drown your watch because the crown is unlocked. That's pretty hard to miss. And it's easy to lift and then manipulate when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved because you don't have to thread out a tightly screwed conventional crown. So this is an easy system for those who do want to make adjustments on the fly while they're acting in sporty fashion with their sports watches. Also, because it simply compresses and decompresses the crown seal, it tends not to wear out those seals the way a crown that threads in and out endlessly will tend to do, and it offers more protection than a shoulder crown guard. Taking a look at the bezel, you can see that the bezel is also in ceramic. Let's have a listen. A super chunky 60-click bezel. It has probably the loudest sound and the sharpest feel of any bezel I've encountered. Its only real rival, maybe a Doxa sub. Taking a look in the dark, you can see there's plenty of luminescence. All three hands are loomed. The bezel pearl is enormous. It's like the moon staring back at you. And then you can see the crosshair for the small seconds also loomed to make it easier to read seconds in the dark. Now the dial features applied elements, so we have three-dimensional indices, all of this with a sort of photina look, like a vintage tritium or radium dial that's aged over the decades. It works as a nice warm complementary color. I'm not normally a fan of photina, but if you just look at this one as a color treatment, a nice complement to the black. It really is well chosen. Now we have a date, we have small seconds. The watch does have a hacking seconds function. Pull the crown out, you can actually move the hour hand independently of the minute hand, the second. You can drive the date forward or backwards as you move that hour hand independently to travel across the world. You can drive the date forward or backwards as you cross the international date line. So you've got that time zone adjustment feature in addition to hacking seconds. On the reverse, you can see the original pig, or the manned torpedo, the SLC, used by the Decima Flotilla in the 1930s and 40s, World War II Italian amphibious warfare specialists, pioneering frogmen, most notably in the assault on Alexandria Harbor. They used this manned torpedo, which was also a bomb, get through the anti-torpedo nets, attach it to the bottom of a battleship, and then get clear if you can. That was the idea there. You see, this is a P series that corresponds to 2013. This is number 631 of 1,000 created. The case back itself is titanium. Inside we have Panerai exclusive caliber 9000, P9000, one of their in-house movements, automatic winding with 2 barrels and a 72-hour power reserve. The 2 barrels mean you've got a very even torque release. So whereas you could get 72 hours out of 1 barrel, you're going to get big fluctuations in timing and balance amplitude. Whereas with 2 barrels, it's much more controlled and regular. It beats away at 4 hertz, pivots on 28 pivot jewels. You do have a free-sprung architecture, which allows for very precise adjustment, but also better shock tolerance. And it is a large movement to fit a large case. The two things correspond fairly well. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.